Leading from identity, ego, and self-image is a losing battle at the end of the day. And what do you lose? You lose your freedom, you lose your ability to scale, and to some degree, you're going to lose your sanity.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
How would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have Susan, which is the founder of Millionaire Leadership. She's also coach billionaires and is a great coach, leadership coach. So Susan, tell us, what are the 5 steps to make your first million?
Well, what's most important that I've seen, and I've coached leaders for over 20 years now. Wow. I've been in the leadership development, and I've seen leaders, how they've successfully grown their business to be billionaires. And one of the most important pieces to grow and make your first million as an entrepreneur is to learn how to delegate effectively. That is kind of number one. And I would tell you, I see challenges that happen from the smallest of entrepreneurs to the biggest of companies. There's still work that can be done on how to be a better delegator.
Absolutely.
And so you have to think, I might step back a minute, you have to think about, in order to scale to 1 million, you have to build a team to help you do that. As an individual, it's extremely rare for you to get to that level of income when it's just you. So you need to start thinking about, well, what can I delegate? And if so, how do I do it? Because it's more an art than a science, which we can get into. But thinking like, I'm going to need a team to do this, and then I need to develop the skill set to be able to delegate effectively, that is the key piece on growing your team and growing your business to 1 million.
Yeah. And then the step number 2, okay, we said that would be, because we need 5 steps from you, Susan. So this step, delegate, really powerful. I agree 100%. So
yeah.
4 more.
Well, let me call the first step being, think about having a team.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Number 1, the mindset of I have a team, I'm going to create a team. Step number 2 is delegate effectively. Step 3 is make sure that everyone is clear on priorities and what the vision is, so that you're all rowing in the same direction, right? Step 4 is you've got a platform for communication so that it's not just where you can do asynchronous communication, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's not just you getting on the phone or whatever. What is the platform for that, right? And so that all of my focus is around how you work with your team.
And the last one?
The last one would be how you share your success with the rest of the team. What's going to be motivating for them in this? That, motivation is key. You're going to lose your team if you're not understanding what's in it for them. Mm-hmm. So how do you articulate that?
Susan, I love your 5 steps. The more you say your 5 steps, I'm seeing myself there, because you see, especially in the first 2, because this is literally what happened to me, right? I started my first business, and you see, I have this mindset, a lack of experience, I don't know, that I have to do everything on my own. Yeah, have this mindset, I don't trust anyone. It was a property business. We managed to sell 5 million, but at the beginning, I have this, I don't trust anybody, like I'm going to give my keys to someone from the property. How about they steal something to my tenants? Oh my God. I'm going to give the contact of my landlords to my employees. Why is they taking them? So I have this mindset. But the truth was that Regalis that was making a lot of money, exactly what you said. No way was close to 1 million. And I was tired. I'm exhausted. I'm waking up with the laptop in my lap, I'm not sleeping. I'm doing everything, wearing all the hats. You see, renting
Where's the
properties.
freedom in that? Most
I'm
people want to be their
so
own boss,
tired.
and there's no freedom in that.
So tired. Yeah. The bank account, a lot of money in the bank account, but I'm like, so I'm in bad mood, you see, and so tired. So I think that out of survival, yes, basically I couldn't do anymore. I couldn't. I grew until I could handle it. It was a point that I couldn't handle it anymore. Yeah, I have a job back then. Also, I was doing room service in the Hilton. Yeah, parallel when I was building my business. And at some point, I have, we have. I think I managed to do by myself to acquire 7 houses. Yeah, I always have 2 rooms, and then so I wake up 5 a.m., go to the Hilton, prepare the breakfast, do my room service, and at 4, I was doing the viewings and renting my rooms. And at some point, I have like 2 rooms empty all the time because I couldn't handle it anymore. I couldn't manage. It was way too much. And I'm checking one day and say, hold on a minute, 2 rooms, if I rent them, that would be over £1,200, which is the same that they were paying me in the Hilton. It was around 1,000 or something, plus tips. And so that's the day that I quit my job 17 years ago, right? Haven't looked back yet. And something after I left that job, a big shifting happened because I had time now. Because next day I rent the 2 rooms. That's it. I had nothing to. The whole thing was full. But now I start to think exactly what you described in your step 2, how to let that I have to do everything, and to start to hire people. Something amazing happened. The people that I had, they were all better than me at everything. I'm like shocked. I'm like, how you do that? I thought that was a big deal. When I started to hire people, I realized
okay.
they absolutely. I was so happy. I was telling everyone. I was so excited. I was telling everyone, you won't believe the people that, my sales people, the girls, I hired girls at the management, and the girls were incredible, yeah. Until one point that one day I arrived to the office and they told me, Harry, go home. We don't need you in the office anymore. But a process happened today, Susan, that I want to describe with you, because somehow by accident, I created an empowering context for leadership in the office. Kind of by accident as well, because I was through this process, which is your step 1 and step 2, that I love so much, because I feel that I'm like, this was me exactly like that.
Yeah.
Where I was so happy about my team and the guests. However, something was happening in the office, Susan, that everybody would come and ask me questions, because I'm the owner, and so they were coming to ask me questions. There were so many, from different managers and so on. Yeah. So I put out of survival again, because I was exhausted.
We call that, by the way, a hub and spoke model, because it's a hub and spoke. If you create yourself as the hub, then the bigger your team gets, again, the more problems you have, because what you actually want is some of them talking to each other, exactly, going to you.
They might die again. So I said, I put a sign in the office that say, okay, if you have a question, come with 2 and 3 solutions, because you're better than me anyway. Yeah. and don't ask me to choose, because you better choose. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we try something else. It's not like I have a magic one. I'm especially you guys are more qualified, because sales, marketing, whatever, you doing this all the time, right? And that's it. Out of that, Susan, by accident again, because I cannot tell you that that I knew how to do this. Like I said, literally one day the girl sent me home. I'm like, what? You don't need photocopy in the photocopy? They know, Harry, we can get our own paper in the photocopy. Just go home. The girl told me, in fact, the only problem in this company is you that come and talk to us and don't let us work. So they say, okay, fine. So Susan, this process cannot happen by accident. Yeah. Can you describe, because I'm just telling you a story, but you're definitely an expert in the field. I surrendered my ego, that I'm the big
Yeah.
We're going to call it ego. We're going to call it whatever we're going to call it. But I just surrendered. Like, I'm doing everything. I know everything. Everybody, I don't trust anybody. And when I surrendered all that, magic happened. And I was literally making a lot of money and at home watching movies. Yeah. Which is, they literally send me home. So what happened to me, Susan? You tell me. How this happened? How this happened? Did I become a leader without knowing anything about leadership? What happened then?
Yeah. Because what happened is a fundamental shift leading from identity, ego, and self-image is a losing battle at the end of the day. And what do you lose? You lose your freedom. You lose your ability to scale. And to some degree, you're going to lose your sanity. What you experienced, right? Yeah. And so that this sense of surrender, but how do you do it effectively, right? How do I actually trust? And that's where, actually on my website, there's a great guide on there. This is on Meritage Leadership. That's MERITAGE leadership.com on how to free up 8 hours of your week. But what it really is a guide to effective delegation. And everything from what are the mindsets I need to let go of? You've already identified some. Another mindset that gets in people's way is I can't afford to hire someone. That's a big one. And frankly, that stopped me early on too. Like when I started after a few years, I'm like, but I can't afford to hire someone. Like when I hired my first accountant to handle my books and my invoicing, I had done that all myself. That's not my forte. That's not my strength.
Absolutely.
And the more I got sucked into that, let somebody else do it. Then it freed up my time. So there's a little calculator in there that will show you actually can't afford not to hire someone and move forward, right? And there's so many resources now of virtual assistants and very cost-effective ways that you can. So there's thinking, the mindset shift that needs to happen. Then, and you've articulated some, a big one that gets in people's way. And then there's determining, so what do I delegate, right? And there's a little exercise in there to think about a potential future state 6 months from now. What would you want your life to be looking like? Because I think when you get people out of the day-to-day and they're like, step back for a moment, what do you really want? Now let's work backwards. Very motivating for people to think like, this stuff. I don't want to keep doing my accounting and invoicing 6 months from now. Like, shoot me, So what needs to happen in order to make that happen? And then there's kind of the last section, which is, okay, let's say you got somebody in place and you need to delegate. How do you do that effectively? And what I see people do is either they're kind of on two ends of a spectrum, neither end works. Either they throw it over the fence and like, you got it. And I give no guide rails. I give no context. I give no background. I don't tell them what I'm really looking for. Like, and we hope they figure it out, right? That doesn't work. On the other end of the spectrum is the person that delegates something, but kind of takes it back, right? The micro, right? Delegate it. And the very first mistake you see, I'm going to do it myself.
I know it all, yeah.
It's this middle ground, right? So this middle ground, there's a very specific process that you go through. It's called OURS, is the acronym. And the reason I named it OURS, so OURS, is because when you delegate, it's an agreement between you and the other person. It's ours. It's not yours, and it's not mine.
It's ours. Wow, I love the name. That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's an agreement that we're making, so we better be clear on what that agreement is, so that when we're clear on the agreement and the agreement is pretty crisp, you can go watch television at home, right? People don't do enough up front to make that success.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.